That was a good warm-up.
They say you have a double or something. So, yeah, it works for me.
It's quality, not quantity.
Exactly.
So they say one time, that there was a student of the Balatanya that all of a sudden it was in the middle of Suda Shlishit, and there was a student that wasn't there, hear him, that all of a sudden in the middle of Suda Shlishit, the Balatanya all of a sudden screams out his name. In the middle of Raiva de Raivan, we know that that's one of the most important time of Shabbat is Suda Shlishit. That's the time when Moshe Rabbeinu passed away. That's the time when, they say that, the world began on Yom Rishon. So Kiviyachol, when Hashem thought to create the world, was Raiva de Raivan, right before Yom Rishon begins, which is Shal this time. So at that time, all of a sudden the Balatanya screams out the name of some chassid. I don't remember his name, like Chaim Yankel, all of a sudden something like Chaim Yankel. So time passed, and all the Chassidim were wondering why, how, who, what. So mamish months later, when this guy Chaim Yankel finally comes to town, they mamish grabbed him, and they said, "Listen, we're not going to let you go." They mamish cornered him off, and they said that you have to tell us what happened 3 months ago in the middle of Suda Shlishit. What were you doing? Like, all of a sudden the Rebbe called out your name. So he said, it's amazing. I was thinking about my Rebbe, I was thinking about the Balatanya, and all of a sudden it was in the middle of Suda Shlishit. All of a sudden I gave a krechs, like the Rebbe says, like I gave a sigh, and I said, Oi, heilige Rebbe. And they thought that it was right then at that same time that the Balatanya, that he said, Oi, and he said, Chaim Yankel, the same name of that person. So we have to know, first of all, that tzaddikim, this thing that Hashem created called the tzaddik, is a very living, breathing, real thing. It's mamash. It's like, in Breslov, it was always like, the Rebbe, when he was passing away, he said, Malachem lidog. That if I'm dying before you, what are you worried about? First of all, I'm going to be in the next world before you, so I'm going to be paving the path for you. I'm going to be, so to speak, rolling the red carpet for my Hasidim. But the Rebbe didn't say, but I'm not here in this world, meaning that should be, what to cry about. No, because it's no difference. For a tzaddik, the Rebbe said once to his daughter that for a tzaddik going from this world to the next world, it's like going from one door to another, right? It's going from one room to another. It doesn't make a difference, meaning that now that the tzaddik's passed away, his koach is so much more greater, it says in Svarim. There's so much more of a hitpashtut of the tzaddik. Now we have to know, the Chidah says that it's interesting that when we say korbanot, it says the pasuk, Uneshalma farim sefatenu, right? That our lips, by us saying the korbanot, is like as if we're bringing the sacrifice. So he says, if that's so, that there's such a klal, that uneshalma farim sefatenu, that it's as if you brought the sacrifice by saying it, then how is it that after korbanot you have to say, we say Yehi Ratzon, right? We say especially Yehi Ratzon, that we say after korbanot. Yiratzon l'fanecha Hashem Elokeinu v'Elokei Avotenu sheyasiach siftatenu zeh chashuv umkubal umerutze l'fanecha kilu ikravnu karban tamid b'moado. Right? Why do we have to say that? If the Chidah is saying, if it is unashalma farim sifatenu, then it's as if we brought the korban in the olam ha'asiyah. Then why do we have to say, especially Yiratzon? Hashem counted as if. Of course He counts it. That's the rule. So he says the answer is like this. He says you should know that speech, dibur, comes from the olam of Bria. It doesn't come from the world of Asiyah. We have something, we're granted a gift on our face, this mouth, that we have an ability to draw things down from a higher world. Right? It's really shaykh to that world. Really, dibur is shaykh to the next world. It's not really shaykh to Olam Asiyah. Olam Asiyah is a place, Oh, like cows, donkeys, the way they talk, that's the way communication should be. That should be like this on this level, that we could share such divine things, that we could daven. He says that's already in the Olam Abriya. So therefore you have to say Yiratzon, especially Yiratzon, that it should be considered Zeh Chashuv U'Kmal U'Mutzeh Ki'ilu Ikravnu Korbana Tamid in this world, in the Olam Asiyah. Because you wanted to count that as if in the physical world you brought a Korban. So we have to look at the flip side. So I was thinking to myself, can a person, it's a little strange, can a person like call out to his Rebbe even though his Rebbe is not in this physical world? So according to what the Chidah is saying, it makes so much more sense. It's, of course you can. If a tzaddik goes in the higher olamot, right, a person can call out to his Rebbe no matter where he is. Baruch Hashem, we have a Rebbe that he comes down to the most lowest of levels. We know that the greater the doctor is, the more sick people he can heal. And if we're gifted to have a tzaddik that he said that I will never let you go no matter what. That I will never let you go. We have to know we're blessed with a gift, tremendous gift. Rabbeinu is a secret. Rabbeinu is the Or HaNe'elam in the world. He's the secret. He's the tikkun of Geula is Rabbeinu. And for us to come here, in the United States of America in Brooklyn to get together, in this time, in this time and age, and to get together to celebrate that we have a chelek in this tzaddik, we have to know. The Rebbe was very makbid about one thing also, that we have to believe in ourselves. The Rebbe said, Atem lo ma'aminim ba'atzmechem. That's a big problem. That you guys don't, he says, every single person has to believe in themselves, and you have to believe that you have a chelek with this tzaddik. You have a portion. There's a little real estate that you have, a little property in Rabbeinu's heart. Every single one of us in this room has a part, a chelek in Rabbeinu's heart, right? Now there's tremendous benefits to that. If you read in Likutei Moharan, a person says, where is the Yetzer Hara, right? The Baal Tanya says also in the left side of the heart, right? Shalom Aleichem.
Litta is here. Sure.
ליטאי הגיע. ליטאי הגיעו.
Right, so Rabbeinu says that in Likutei Moharan that we have Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara is on the left side of the heart, and what is it called? Ruach Shtut. Right, it's called Ruach. So Rabbeinu says in Likutei Moharan that the nature of Ruach is that it goes from a lower place to a higher place. It's always looking for an exit. Ruach is always looking to get out, right? So he says, what happens? He says, you should know what's connection to a tzaddik. The connection to a tzaddik is through love, right? That you love a tzaddik so much. So love is also, so he says, when you love a tzaddik so much, your hearts become one. Your heart enters into the tzaddik's heart, right? So every single one of us, now our heart enters into Rabbeinu's heart. So then what happens? Now everyone has his own package, right? Some people have tavat achila, some people have tavat for this, for that, for money, for, So all of a sudden what happens? And the ruach shtut, all of a sudden it looks to go out. So where does it go out? If your heart is in Rabbeinu's heart, it goes out all of a sudden in Rabbeinu's heart. All of a sudden it's like, oh my God, Rabbanu Shalom. All of a sudden all of a sudden there's this new ruach shtut that entered me, right? Of this specific student of mine. So the tzaddik himself starts breaking that ruach shtut, the ruach shtut of us, of our ta'avot, of our Yetzer Haras. How many people, come to Uman? You have to imagine how many people come to Uman with how many different ruach shtuts, and they're all entering into this tzaddik. And the Rabbeinu, he's like a commando. He's like standing there throwing grenades constantly. You see guys, they come. Who knows where they come from? Sometimes in the mikveh you could see some signs, but it's unbelievable. Rabbeinu's mamish washing souls. It's this unbelievable mikveh of souls. And just to be part of it, that we have a chelek, you know what that's worth? I always say the story, one Purim, it was Reb Levi Yitzchak Bender, Zichron Livracha and Reb Shmuel Shapiro were sitting together on Purim. And Reb Shmuel Shapira, he was Makurov to Breslov later. He was never in Uman till very late. So he asked Reb Levi Yitzchak, he said, listen, he said, you were in Uman many years, and you said many tikkun klalis. I was never in Uman. He says, you heard this, right? He says, how would you like to sell one of your tikkun klalis to me? One. Right? What?
For Shmirat Einayim.
So this is
You want to give up Shmirat Einayim if you want to go to
Wow, that's one version. That's a bigger chiddush. But the version I heard was that he said that, it was Purim, he said that, you know what, I'll sell you all of my Olam Haba. That's the version I heard. All of my Gan Eden for one Tikkun HaKlali. Wow. So then Rav Levi is like, he was sitting there, he was like, he's like, I said a lot of Tikkun HaKlalis, one Tikkun and this person's not just Stam, his Olam Haba, this is Rav Shmuel Shapir, he's an Ovid Hashem, Yomam V'Layla, if you see him, if you look at pictures of him just yearning for Hashem, you melt, So he said, okay, one Tikkun HaKlali, fine, you got a deal. It wasn't just a deal, they made a shtar. Take out a shtar, tichtom it, tichtom, with Eidim and the whole 9 yards. They did that for all of his Olam Haba, one Tikkun HaKlali. Now listen to this, Motzei Purim, all of a sudden at the house of Rav Levi Yitzchak Bender, there's a bang on the door. Open. No, I'm sorry, the house of Rav Shmuel Shapira. There's somebody banging on the door. Who is someone screaming outside? Who's screaming? Some old man, I don't know. Open the door. Wow, it's Rav Levi Yitzchak. He's like, no, it's not a good deal. Mekach tot, I was drunk. What was I thinking? What was I thinking to sell one Tikkun HaKlali for all of his Olam Haba? What was I thinking? We have no idea. We come here, we come to Uman, we like dance, Rabbeinu, we have no idea what it's doing for us and for Dorot and for generations. We have no idea, to say the Asara Mine Nagina by the Tzaddik, it's the Ptichat Gan Eden. We have such a schut, every single one of us. Like, sometimes I think, like, who am I? That Rabbeinu Baruch Hashem held on to me. I'm some guy, from Persia that I was running around the world. I don't know what I was thinking. All of a sudden, Rabbeinu it's Berlin says that, yeah. But no, Baruch Hashem.
I heard the story of Shmuel Shapira, this time in Uman. He told me that his wife in the funeral said that she's Edah, that he was with her as many kids as they had.
Whoa, that's holy. Wow. Yeah. It's not Pashut. These are Tzadikei Elyon. It's Baruch Hashem. But one thing we should know. We should know that the Rabbeinu, when he asked when there's two Hasidim if they're missing from the kibbutz. One of them was a tremendous lamdan, a tzaddik, right, Reb Aaron of the Rav of Breslov, and he mentioned another Chassid also, and the guy he mentioned was a simple mamash, he didn't know how to learn nothing, and he mentioned them in the same breath. He's like, where's this one and this one? Right? To show that when it comes to connection to the tzaddik, when it comes to being in the kibbutz and being part of the Rabbeinu's, what he's trying to do, Hamtaka the Din for the world, everyone has a chelik. Everyone is, you're just as important as the highest Rav, over there in Uman, with his name up in lights, your mamish, you have to know. So we all have to really appreciate and celebrate. That's part of getting together. First of all, that we have to thank Hashem that He's given us such a light, that He's given us a chelik in this Rebbe, and Bezrat Hashem, and we should carry the Rebbe's light this year. That I ask myself all the time, what would the Rebbe want from me? What do I have to do? Sometimes I have my schedule of learning. I'm behind in Daf Yomi. I need to do this, that. But then I said, listen, the Rebbe said the most important thing is Hitzbodedut. I have to do Hitzbodedut, but I have 1 hour. But I have to learn this, that. Forget the Chachmas. Drop your Seichel. The Rebbe said the most important thing is Hitzbodedut. I have to listen, right? I'm telling, and you see Nisim. You see gates open. All of a sudden, a daf that should have taken me an hour and 20 minutes, all of a sudden, 20 minutes, it flies through, because once we follow tzaddik, all the tikkunim, the Rebbe said, you should know, by the way, just to be mechazik Hitzbodedut, that everything that you need to accomplish, that we need to accomplish in not only in this Gilgul, but in all our previous Gilgulim, until Bias HaMashiach and Techiyat HaMeitim, everything Ad Sof can be accomplished from Hitzbodedut. Yeah, everything you need to do, all things of your soul from beginning till end. You don't need, Gilgul Sheleg. You don't need, all these fasts and all these, Tikkun Kabbalim. There's all these things I did it once. I was like, I'm telling you, just talk Abba, just talk conversation. You go on your porch. You have a conversation with Abba. It's amazing that the Rebbe Mamish made it in such a way. So there's other Hashem we should. Mamash, mamash. It's a Yerushalmi. It's a otzar. The Rebbe said, "Ani otzar shel Yer Shemayim," right? But with such a simcha, with such a chiyut. And I'm telling you, sometimes like you said, I stand in minyanim, I look around, and I'm like, if they only had this wealth, they're missing. Their souls, they're missing. They're like, they're standing around, they're dying. Hashem should help. So we should try on our level, and a lot of times, you don't need to say someone a Torah or something. Just from them seeing you, that you're besimcha, and you're makabel, you're also makabel bizyonot ba'ava. They see, this is a dugma ishit, this is a Breslover. They asked the guy that lived across the street from Reb Nassan, he was a real misnagid, so the other misnagdim, they told him, they said, listen, you lived across the street from the Nassan. You could have thrown rocks. You could have done something. How come you didn't? So he says, you know what? He says, every night I just heard this Nassan start to cry and say Tikkun Chatzot, like the Bechiyot. He said, it ripped my heart. He said, how could I throw rocks? It didn't feel right. You know what I mean? So we have to know these things that Bezrat Hashem, that all of this is a tikkun for us, and this causes us to grow. And the Rebbe wants us to have a leiv basar, to have a heart of flesh, to greet the wife with simcha. Exactly. Mamish. To all these things that we should be sensitive to other people, we should be sensitive to our friends, we should be sensitive to our Vodat Hashem. Like this Shemona Esrei, all of a sudden it's mincha on Wednesday afternoon. It's not another mincha. This is a mincha that Hashem has been waiting from Sheshet Yemei Bereshit to hear this mincha with all this balagan that you're going through, right? And to daven, to say the words, hitchachut, and all the Rebbe's eitzes. And Bezrat Hashem, we should be mechazek and stick together. Bezrat Hashem, coming here, you should know, Mr. Amir, for me, this is a little mini uman. You should know. Coming together in Sukkah with Rabbeinu's light here. It's a Breslov house. You feel it in the furniture in the house. Sitting together like this, it's a chavaya. Baruch Hashem, it's Gan Eden. We're all in Gan Eden right now. You should know.
Good gathering. Is this
Baruch Hashem.
Third year?
Yeah, beautiful. We should be mechazek. Hopefully this sukkah, this whole thing should be transported to Eretz HaKodesh. Because all of us, we should be there with Mashiach Tzidkenu, with Rabbeinu, with all the true tzaddikim. B'meir v'menu, amen. Amen.